Welcome to Sleep with Myth. Tonight we walk beside a man whose memory is a lantern in a city that has forgotten the word for night. He lives on the 7th floor of a building that leans as if listening. By day he shelves books no one opens. By evening he measures water for tea and turns the lamp to its softest vow. He does not call himself faithful. Faith needs an audience. He is careful. He handles names like moths. His grandmother taught him the old names from a cedar box that smelled of rain and soap. She said, "Speak softly, even gods startle." He learned the threshold god who stands between what you are and what you mean to be. The river god who ferries sorrow without charging twice. The sky before it learned a blue to wear. Years taught him other alphabets. Passwords, deadlines, receipts. The cedar box became memory, and memory became a quiet room. Yet some nights the names return like birds that still know the balcony. This night, the kettle hushes the room into listening. He places both palms on the table until waiting becomes prayer. He breathes the first syllable, not spoken, breathed. Breath is the oldest ink. The doorway deepens. The lamp makes a small gold lake on the wood. The clock forgets its pride. Something leans back. He does not kneel. He arranges the cup and spoon the way temples arrange altars, with ordinary tenderness. He carries the second name to the threshold in his mouth like water. The city outside misses a step. A siren reconsiders itself. An elevator pauses between floors to remember upward. "Are you there?" he asks, not aloud. The room answers by becoming truer. The table is less burdened by being a table. The chair is more convinced of its kindness. He rests his hand on the doorframe and feels the grain accept him. A small sorrow rises and discovers it can float. When midnight arrives without theater, he opens the box of memory and lifts the third name, the one that prefers questions to answers. It lifts him through kitchens that smell like forgiveness, stairwells that never run out of steps, and classrooms where chalk decides to sing instead of squeal. He does not speak. He remembers. Remembering performs its meaning without permission. "Is this prayer?" he asks. The room becomes a lake. Lakes answer with surface. In the coin of lamplight, he sees a face not made for eyes, a rival wearing patience. He looks down. Looking down is a kind of bow. "Then hear me," he breathes. "I remember." The coin light steadies. Somewhere behind the city's noise, a door unlatches. The city bows only to its reflections. Glass towers rehearse dawn. Screens bless themselves. People wear headphones like amulets against their own thoughts. Beneath the concrete, however, something older than traffic keeps time. He works the late shift at a library whose air smells of spines and second chances. Fluorescents make everything explain itself. He carries a candle instead. Titles fade, but when he strokes a book's back with 2 fingers, a sentence inside turns over in its sleep. Tonight the flame lengthens without wind. Dust lifts, not neglect, evidence of staying. A shadow stands beside mythology as if waiting for an apology from history. "Who are you?" he whispers, though his bones already know. The air answers inside him. "Do you still remember us?" His heart answers first. The names under his skin wake like constellations drawn in warmth. A book dismounts the shelf on its own and lands open at his feet. A figure carrying flame through a night made of forgetting. Below, a line in a pre-alphabet hand. "Even when the gods sleep, their dreams need tending." He kneels by the paper as if the floor were listening. "Then I will tend them," he says. The shadow folds back into the quiet. Leaving warmth the room accepts as a correct answer. Toward dawn he watches the street. The city remains the city, urgent, convinced, unkneeling. Yet the light looks less lonely, as if it had found someone to sit with. The God who waited in the mirror. At home, silence climbs the stairs beside him like a loyal dog. He lights the candle and sits before an old mirror softened by his grandmother's hands. She used to speak to her reflection at night, reporting the day to someone beyond her face. He had thought it superstition. Now he suspects it was correspondence. His reflection blinks a heartbeat late. The air thins. The reflection smiles, a kindness older than fire. Fear requires distance. There isn't any. A voice arrives as vibration in the bones. You kept the names alive. I tried, he says. Longing is devotion that lost its vocabulary. Behind the glass, horizons shift. Wings, storms, cities carved from breath. He raises his hand. The other hand meets it from the far side. The mirror turns from surface into patience. Warmth comes through, recognition made into weather. He sees a temple of thunder, an ocean dreaming of walking, and at the center a presence unornamented. The one who keeps the echo of every prayer, memory itself, shaped like a god. You are my last altar, the reflection says. I am what your remembering has built. What if I stop? He asks. Then I will sleep until someone else listens. He nods. The flame bows, then steadies. I will keep listening. The face settles into the silver like starlight kept for later. He stays after the candle dies, watching his dark reflection breathe, knowing he is not the only awake thing in the room. Before dawn he wakes known. His body has been inventoried by gentleness. At his chest, beneath pulse, something answers. Steady, impossibly old. Remembering is no longer a task. It is an organ. He pours water. Ripples briefly spell an alphabet of light. Steam rises, smelling of cedar and star. The voice returns from between breath and blood. You are ready. For what? To become what you have tended. Lines appear under his skin where sunlight touches. Runes, roots, the grammar of making. They glow, then rest, leaving warmth that knows his name. Temples, he understands, were never to house gods but to teach humans how to listen. The mirror now shows exactly what it sees. An ordinary man with infinite purpose. From the glass, the remembered God mouths. You are becoming the prayer itself. He sits. Hands tremble, not with fear, with reverence. Every God begins as a thought, and every thought begins with care. The voice says, you remembered us. Now we will remember you. He places his palm over his heart. Outside, the city stretches into its usefulness. Inside, another rhythm begins, slow, certain, tuned to the key of before. May the world remember itself, he whispers. It already has, the room replies with dawn for punctuation. The sky that forgot its name. He walks through morning like through a dream, trying to wake kindly. The clouds above are thick with intention. Birds fly lower. Wind takes corners on tiptoe. The sky is not blue. It is remembering. Color moves like thought. Violet that knows gold, gold that remembers dusk. The voice hums through him. You've woken something older than prayer. What? The first name of the sky. He closes his eyes. Beneath the city's machinery, he hears syllables too slow for speech, each a heartbeat made of light. He kneels on the pavement. Commuters pass, calling revelation madness. The clouds part to reveal a pale circle, not sun, not moon, something both, before they agreed to take turns. Warmth falls on his face and recognizes him. The divine does not die, the voice says. It waits for attention. At the library, the dust gleams like patience rewarded. An ancient page rearranges itself. Every soul is a sky. Every sky has a forgotten name. He rests his hand upon the words as upon a forehead at peace. Thunder applauds inwardly. Evening turns windows to one gold thought. For the first time in years, he thanks the sky without needing it to answer. Night arrives without theater. The city breathes. Lights imitate constellations with admirable effort. He stands by the window and feels the tide of presence moving through him as through a patient shore. He sits at the same table that has learned how to be an altar without changing shape. He thinks of his grandmother's cedar box and of the gods who taught mountains patience and taught fire its first word. He thinks of every prayer that died halfway to heaven and discovers none of them died. They were archived in the quiet. He speaks softly. I remember you. The room deepens. Shadows fold into presences. Hand of dusk, eye of starlight, wings sewn from memory, laughter like rain. The mirror brightens. The god of memory returns, galaxies resting in its gaze. Do you know what prayer is? Remembering. And remembering, listening with the heart until silence answers. Then pray one last time. He closes his eyes and stands beneath a sky that is inside him. Names that are not names open like petals. Somewhere a child pauses before crushing a flower. Somewhere an old man looks up and feels the stars looking back. Somewhere silence becomes worship without needing a word. Dawn arrives, ordinary blue laid over extraordinary truth. The pulse beneath the color will not fade. He pours tea. Steam rises like incense that has learned good manners. The gods are awake now, not as rulers, as witnesses, living in pauses, in kindnesses, in doors held open for winds that mean no harm. Rest well, he tells them. The world remembers you now. Something vast exhales. He doesn't fall asleep. He enters harmony. Prayer, he understands at last, was never reaching upward. It is the universe remembering itself through us. Thank you for listening to Sleep with Myth. End.